So first of all, I am thankful to Dr. Maria and organizers to give me opportunity to interact on scope and status of bumblebee rearing in India. So before I start, I just heard Dr. Maria that you are working on apple pollination with community. So here in India, I am also after my superannuation working on the same aspect in apple orchards, developing and conservation of pollinator under GIZ project. So maybe next time or some other time I can share those findings as well. So now coming to the topic. So we all know that bumblebees, because of their body, foraging behavior, and ability to live in difficult conditions, they offer a viable option to be used as alternative pollinators in many crops and also in exclusion as pollinator. So now first thing is the contribution of animal pollination. So pollination globally, apart from honeybees, bumblebees are also important, which are commercially reared. They are in the environment and playing important role in pollination. Bumblebees specifically, they are more suited to the crops which are not sometimes pollinated by honeybees. Why? Because of their body size, because of their foraging behavior, tongue length, they are considered better pollinators of some of the crops as comparison to honeybees and other pollinators. Regarding their habitat, bumblebees are mostly found in temperate climates. Some species are also found in low and tropical regions, and few species are distributed in extremely cold areas where other bees could not survive. So, this wide adaptability to live in extreme conditions make them far better pollinators. Coming to their commercial importance, bumblebees are effective pollinators of various commercial crops, apple, tomato, peppers, berry, beans, etc. But the most important part is that they are best suited under protected conditions for these commercially important crops, tomatoes, chilies, berries, etc. So, buzz pollination is bumblebees are highly specialized for this due to their body and muscle structure. They make vibration, and from long tubular these stamens, the pollen get released and better pollination occur. But the worrying point everywhere about bumblebees and other natural insect pollinators is that their population is declining. So bumblebee population are declining around the world, impacting pollination of commercially important crops, which I told you right now, as well as the pollination of different flowering plants in the nature where they are. The main cause of decline, we all know, loss of habitat, mechanization in agriculture, pesticide use, climate change. So, bumblebee conservation, along with our indigenous native pollinator conservation, should be a top priority in any country, in any region, in any area. Since many of our commercially important food crops they are dependent on pollination by bumblebees and other pollinators. Now, when we talk about so I'll throw a light why bumblebee pollination. So bumblebees become a pollinator for certain crops, particularly I told you under protective cultivation due to their foraging behavior. Why? Flowers with bumblebees can. As pollination, like in tomato, the most of the pollinators are unable to access those tightly packed pollen inside the flower. But bumblebees, because of their body structure, are able to buzz pollinate and are unique pollinating agent. Protective cultivation, we have already discussed that they are ideal pollinator for protective cultivation. Now we can see that global studies they report added value of bumblebees for different important crops. In vegetables, tomato, chili, soft fruit, strawberry, blueberry, raspberry, cucurbits, melon, watermelons, stone fruits, sweet cherry, almond, plum, and apple, kiwi, coffee, spices, cardamom. Specifically, large cardamom is, very important. And to sum up, there is an increase in yield that is important, and the also in the quality of the fruit produced. Due to time constraint, I'll restrict to few statements in every slide. In India, there are many species of bumblebees which are commercially reared, but those species like Bombus testis, they are not here in India. So we and my colleagues in our university in Himalaya, we started first time work on rearing of bumblebees in the country. And the species more commonly found bumblebees. So the work started 2002. We have done identification of bumblebee flora, standardization of domiciles, identification of pests and diseases, establishment of laboratory reared colony in the field, studied morphometry, diapause, mating behavior of this species. Also, we have evaluated their performance for pollination, which I will be discussing in coming slides. Like in each scenario, though our experiment restricted to small area polyhouse, initial studies are these are all initial studies, but we recorded increase in fruit set, fruit length, fruit diameter, fruit weight, seed number, weight of the seed, and fruit yield. That means that is a known fact that pollinators, when introduced into the crops, target crops which require pollination, their productivity in terms of production and quality will increase. The same thing we have proved by using bumblebees under protective conditions. So these are some of the species which are found here in Himachal, the part of Himalaya where I live, that is Bombus hammodonis, Waldai, Himalayans, etc. Now, the most important part, wherever we are, when we talk of conservation of pollinators, be it bumblebees or some other pollinators, is flora, bee flora. The flora required for these different kind of pollinators. So we have studied, and just to tell you that vegetable plants, fruit plants, ornamental plants, medicinal plants, weed plants, and wild plants. That means all the flowering plant in nature, large number of their proportions are providing food and habitat to these pollinators. So definitely the first and foremost thing whenever we talk of conservation and multiplication of these pollinators is the bee flora. This is what I wanted to stress here. And about this species, Bombus hemorrhoidalis, its nest architecture under natural condition, you can see the queen, the brood is covered in dried grass. It is dug out this from the cavity. So you can see this is how in nature the Bombus hemorrhoidalis behave. So in our university, we study this life cycle. You can see the bumblebee. First, it starts wax secretion when we capture a bumblebee from the nature and put in a proper domicile. Then starts egg laying, larva is formed, brood formation is there. So this is developmental biology and mating behavior we have studied, colony development, emergence of workers and their use for pollination. And this is in nutshell again the laboratory development. You can see the same thing in improved domicile, and same thing wax secretion, egg laying, and the brood development, and the colony is ready for the use in pollination. So this is the process. But for mass breeding process of these bumblebees, we need a proper facility. So under one of our World Bank project, I as principal investigator have established all these facilities where we have established hibernation room, recovering room, oviposition room, growth room, mating room, and all these facilities are required when we talk of commercialization of bumblebee. I think people from Netherlands is here and other part of the Europe. You are well advanced in this technology. This is what I'm talking of in Indian scenario. The facilities and conditions for successful laboratory reading require proper temperature around 20 to 30 degrees Celsius for different stages. Similarly, we have to maintain the relative humidity. Other conditions are dark and red light conditions, and all these conditions we have created in our now advanced laboratory in the university. We tried different domiciles for bumblebee small scale rearing. These included wooden domicile, even carton domicile, nucleus bumblebee, and now we are focusing on advanced this plastic domicile with cocoon, brooding area, and feeding tank, space for pollen. This is advanced one which is being used by the developing country where the bumblebee has been commercial bumblebee rearing has been standardized. Control condition and other facilities. We also have proper feeding. Feeding is 50% sucrose and fresh corbicular pollen or frozen pollen that is fed to the bees. And initially we started in incubator, then the success was poor, but afterwards we conducted all these experiments. Now in this advanced laboratory, you can see this is a overall apiculture laboratory in our university, the first one. Then you can see the rearing rooms equipped with BOD and X and climate control conditions, brooding room with red light for least disturbance to the bumblebees, refrigerator for pollen storage, separate room for drones and gynae, because when it comes to mating, we cannot keep both drones and gynae females in one room. otherwise the mating is hindered. So hibernation room, that is a again controlled, low controlled, temperature controlled room, and separate mating room equipped with mating cages. So all these facilities, they are separate laboratories which we have now developed, and we are now, rather, my team, I'm superannuated now. They are working to strengthen the research for bumblebee rearing in our country. So other facilities, you can see different domiciles, I have told you, but the best one is modified plastic domicile cum pollination box. So it is the most suitable. And for starter colony, now we have developed these plastic starter box. You can see the developed colony in plastic domicile, which is a pollination box directly that can be used for pollination. And these are colonies maintained in culture room. Further, pollen patty preparation, we are feeding them with now pollen patty instead of direct pollen. And further, after the development of the fully developed colonies, they have been used for field evaluation in different crops. As I told you, so we bring these colonies from the laboratory and establish them in outside, in the near the our apiary. And colonies, they were placed in iron net case with a plastic pipe for their incoming and outgoing these bumblebees. The developed colonies under field, you can see. So such colonies were used for pollination, and as I told you earlier, that they were used in tomato, cucumber, kiwi fruit, capsicum, strawberry, in either greenhouse or polyhouses. Different temperature conditions were around 15 to 33 degrees Celsius in our conditions. Months when we used, it ranged from May to July, and the foraging activity was normal. Their foraging behavior was normal, and of course, as I told you, that recorded increase in fruit set and quality over open pollination, as well as under those conditions where no bumblebee were used, proving the effectiveness of Bombus hamidoides as effective pollinator of these crops. So to conclude, I would say that it is evident that the management and conservation of bumblebee species is urgently needed for sustaining natural resources and agriculture production. Why I'm saying natural resources? Because bumblebee sometimes is found in such area where other pollinators cannot survive. And as I told you, that they work on larger, long corolla, those flowers, due to their long tongue and body size. So definitely they are unique pollinator, and there is a need to conserve them. In India, no such attempt has been made from any other part to replace the potential plant pollination services. And moreover, under our condition now, the protected cultivation has increased into thousands of hectares. So we need bumblebee colonies for pollination under protected cultivation. So in our scenario, we require commercialization of bumblebee rearing, and it remains explored. We are trying to standardize it. So hence standardization of these techniques to rear bumblebees on commercial scale need to be strengthened in our scenario and any other country where such crops are grown, and they need to be utilized for different crops, especially under protected cultivation. So in last, I would say that this Thank you very much, first of all. But we need to plan on crop scenario, on the site of the crop growth, and different conditions of the orchard. Now we have also come to recommendation that we cannot give blanket recommendation for pollination for all the apple orchard in our state. We have to identify pollinators, we have to identify their requirement, and then come out with the pollination management strategies.